Instagram, X prior to Elon Musk, Twitter under Jack Dorsey. They all testified before Congress in the last couple of years. They were indeed, and they brought the evidence. Yeah, we were told, we even had points of contact from the government telling us what we should do and should allow and shouldn't allow and all this kind of stuff. And they were very aggressive. I mean, entire YouTube channels were demonetized, deplatformed, erased from existence. People's livelihoods were eradicated. Google swore up and down, and the government, of course, swore up and down at the time that this was not going on. They all lied. Renegade Online. For those of y'all that don't know, well, I mean, Steph, Michelle, y'all kind of want to explain this because we were all on YouTube. We all remember this.
I'll let the birthday girl go.
I mean, it's basically the Biden administration coming for free speech during COVID and trying to manipulate the narrative and getting anybody deplatformed who didn't follow suit. And they're still doing it, talking about trans. So they're still technically doing it. You can get deplatformed for saying bad things about that community. But that's basically what this is.
In the vein of, and we'll talk about this later when we get to Jimmy Kimmel, but in the vein of, do you want to see what real, actual government censorship looks like? This was it.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Michelle.
I'm still waiting for 400 celebrities to sign a thing about this being against free speech. I will hold my breath and wait for Hollywood to say anything about the Biden administration actually censoring free speech, but we'll just sit here and wait the rest of the stream.
Well, it doesn't have anything to do with multimillionaire celebrities. This has everything to do with the plebs, so they don't really care about regular Americans not having a voice. They need their mouthpieces to have voices. That's why they all came out. But remember during COVID, like what was it? When you were doing a stream or you did a video, there was like that community note underneath the video.
Yeah. No, I remember that. Yes.
Yeah.
And they give like their facts of COVID. Yeah. 19.
Yeah. The CDC and the World Health Organization, remember, which we found out after the fact that a great deal of what they said was just wrong.
Yeah, it was inaccurate.
Or they just made it up on the spot, things like that. It was incredible. But yeah, the government actually used its power. And again, this was the scary thing. This wasn't the Federal Communications Commission, right, with the public airwaves that they're charged with regulating. This was Google, Facebook they testified to having done the same thing on behalf of government edict. Instagram, X prior to Elon Musk, Twitter under Jack Dorsey. They all testified before Congress in the last couple of years that they were indeed, and they brought the evidence. Yeah, we were told, we even had points of contact from the government telling us what we should do and should allow and shouldn't allow and all this kind of stuff. And they were very aggressive. I mean, entire YouTube channels were demonetized, deplatformed, erased from existence. People's livelihoods were eradicated. Financial livelihoods were eradicated because of this. And Google swore up and down at the time, and the government, of course, swore up and down at the time that this was not going on. They all lied. They all lied.
And we knew it was happening. Like, you could tell. If you were a content creator, you could tell this was happening. They were suppressing everything that we could say. We had to come up with new terms for whatever we wanted to talk about. We had to come up with like different workarounds for talking about certain subjects, talking about COVID, talking about the jab, like
the
coup
bug. Yeah, the jab. Remember all that crap? I mean, I remember when I first started my YouTube channel in 2021. I mean, like, everybody was saying these stupid words to describe, COVID or anything related to it, because one word out of line that wasn't completely perfectly in line with what the government commanded, that again, much of was wrong or just outright made up by people like Fauci. I mean, and your channel was eradicated from the face of the earth.
Yeah. You couldn't even say it. You couldn't even say the word vaccine. You couldn't even
You couldn't
say
say
COVID-19.
Yeah, COVID.
You couldn't even say it.
Which is bizarre. Like, why can you not say COVID-19? And here's my kind of question, because I'm glad that this came out. I'm glad that they're public, this is public now, even though, as Steph said, we all knew it. There's people that want to deny it, so now they really can't deny it. So I'm glad that this came out. But why are they we're still censored on some level? I mean, just like we now still use the workaround of grape. Like, why do they not have an advanced enough AI system to pick up context?
I have no idea.
I think the reason that they were suppressing all of that is because they just didn't want you to talk about it. They don't want you to talk about it. They don't want to have people learning that other people aren't falling in line. They just want you to listen to what they're telling you, believe what they are telling you, and fall in line. That's why everybody was getting censored. That's why you had to have workarounds for whatever you were talking about, the coof, the jab. Like, that's why, because they didn't want you to be talking about it. They just wanted you to fall in line. Right? Because if you're talking about it, if you're being skeptical, if you are questioning, then it would be harder to take over.
I just looking at this now, and again, this is one of these things that we've talked about a number of times, not just here and on the Renegade Nation channel, for a variety of things, to where we all knew it was going on, but there's a certain level of satisfaction that, yes, finally, we have absolute confirmation, unequivocal confirmation that we were right. And we knew it. And I mean, you read here, simple press release, and by the way, this is from the House Judiciary Committee, United States House of Representatives. Today, thanks to the oversight of Chairman Jim Jordan, Republican from Ohio, Google commits to offer, and this is the crazy part, like, the restitution here seems virtually impossible. Google commits to offer all creators previously kicked off of YouTube due to political speech violations on topics such as COVID-19, which, how is that a political speech violation? But again, Google just randomly defined it as this based on what they were forced to do by the Biden administration. And look, let's be honest, a lot of people working at Google that were totally in line with this and perfectly fine. Like, hey, you don't even have to ask us. We'll be happy to do it for you, right? In election interference claims in 2020, an opportunity to return to the platform. Let me stop right there because, okay, you had channels out there that had, in some cases, thousands, tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands. I don't remember who the biggest channel was that was deplatformed. Maybe it was million plus. I don't know. How do these people go back and, I mean, okay, here's your channel back. Yeah. How many you have, you back to 0 subscribers. You're not monetized. By the way, the last 5 years of revenue, sorry about that. What do
do you think they can sue them? Could they sue Google for breaking their own community guidelines and violating free speech?
It'd be great to have Ron Coleman here to answer this, but I wonder, my first question to Ron would be, what kind of merit would a lawsuit really be able to hold against Google for doing this if they're going to go to court? They're going to pull up this page right here from the House Judiciary Committee and say, look, the government made us do it. What were we supposed to do? I mean, I don't know. I mean, the answer may be yeah. Sure. I mean, look, you can sue, right? The question is it going to be successful? I'd be curious. I mean, I think it'll be interesting now that Google has come out and admitted this. There may be content creators out there that could show, significant and real financial damage from that, and then try to extrapolate that over, potentially 4 or 5 years of growth and revenue that they were banned from getting. Now, some of these guys may have started second channels and going on again. I know YouTubers have done that. Again, I don't know how the argument would really fetter out in court. I think it would be interesting, but Google has itself kind of in a nice position now. Hey, yes, we can admit that we did this, but Joe Biden made us do it.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good defense. So I don't know how that would work. But just as far as the specifics here, look, Google also admitted to the following to the House Judiciary Committee. The Biden administration pressured Google to censor Americans and remove content that did not violate YouTube's policies.
That's
So
critical.
they
It
got him on the
fell
record. Yeah.
Yeah, it fell under their misinformation policies.
Right. Which again seems it's pretty nebulous, right?
Mhm.
I mean, Jimmy Kimmel last week making the claim that, hey, the shooter was anybody, MAGA thinking that the shooter was anybody other than one of them, his
Mhm.
words, right? That would violate misinformation policies by
Yes.
YouTube, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, I even feel his apology kind of violates misinformation because he says that he wasn't a part of any group, and we know that the bullet casings have direct ties to some Antifa things.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
he was definitely part of a group. That's why I say Jimmy's apology was not even an apology. So
It
I
wasn't
mean,
an apology.
it wasn't
No.
at all. No, it was just a load of steaming horse crap. Public debate should never come. Or let's see, Biden administration censorship presser was unacceptable and wrong. Again, admissions by Google, their agreement with the House Judiciary Committee. Public debate should never come at the expense of relying, I guess, on authorities is what it means to say. The company will never use third-party, quote, fact checkers. And let me tell you why that's important. The whole fact-checking industry especially got big time with, following COVID and then the 2020 election. And like 90+% of all these quote-unquote fact-checking outfits were all hard left Democrat Party arms.
Well,
Not surprising.
it's all BS because
Yeah.
Jimmy Kimmel's such a great example of he's bragged multiple times about his fact checkers, and his fact checkers let him go out and tell something that was against what the FBI had reported before that
Right.
show began.
Yeah.
It's because they don't care. They don't
And I
care.
love this-
And they've been
this-
able. It's arrogance on their part because they've been able to get away with it for such a long time. They've been able to just have the narrative, spin the narrative, make the narrative, create the narrative. So I mean, it's arrogance on their part. They
Mhm.
think that they can pretty much do anything and say anything without any type of consequences. Except now with this happening, and it affecting so many Americans on a spiritual level, on a deep level. People that didn't even know who Charlie Kirk was were affected by this.
Yes.
So for them to go out and try and spin the narrative and do what they normally do, it didn't work this time because people were upset, sad, angry, in complete disbelief that something like this could happen in a very public setting as well. So it didn't work this time. And, Jimmy Kimmel he pretty much found out. He found out it didn't work this time, and there were consequences to that. And the amount of politicians and celebrities that came out to support Jimmy Kimmel when they stayed silent over, the government overreach and silencing American citizens on Facebook, on Instagram, the Twitter files came out. Nobody was talking about that. And now nobody's talking about this. Where are our politicians talking about this? Where are all of the celebrities talking about this? This should outrage people.
Yeah.
But no, they're just going to stay quiet. They were just there for Jimmy Kimmel. That's all that matters.
That's it. And I mean, this was real censorship. I'm going to bring this up here because, again, this was a good point because I mentioned earlier, this wasn't just YouTube, because we've already had testimony from places like Facebook, from X, Twitter, before Musk bought it. Facebook was just shutting down pages, groups, people. I'll tell you right now, by the end of 2020, I hadn't been on Facebook in 5 years.
I've not been on since 2013.
That's it. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's like, God, what an absolute trash fire of crap that became. And I just got tired of it. It was pointless.
I mean, I did a Google search to see if what the biggest YouTube channels that were removed during that time for spreading misinformation. I don't really know some of these, but the biggest one was David Icke, if that's how it spells is his name. In May of 2020, YouTube deleted his channel for posting misleading information about the coronavirus, and his channel had more than 900,000 subscribers. Another one was Dr. Joseph Mercola. His was removed in 2021. He was an anti-vaxxer, and he had nearly 500,000 followers. RFK's Juniors Group, Children's Health Defense, in 2021 was removed for posting vaccine misinformation. And then Steve Bannon was another one that was removed as well.
Yeah, remember him.
But
yeah, I mean, there were a lot of them. And okay, so you didn't like what they had to say. And maybe in some cases, maybe they were wrong. But the problem is that they were leaning so heavily on this is the official, this is the official government position on this. And again, you notice a lot of these, I think everything you just read off was in 2021.
2020 and 2021.
Okay. I wonder what point of 2020 that was, because it sounded like several of them were in 2021. Now, I don't know what these people said specifically, right? Now, maybe they said something that was truly awful. I have no idea. But I mean, again, I don't need to look at the specific cases, although I'd be curious to see the facts. But when you had so many other examples of people like us that would get notifications in YouTube Studio, warning, maybe in violation of YouTube guidelines for misinformation. We all saw these things. You didn't have to be, a million sub channel to get this. Now, some of these targets were really easy to make because they were big channels with lots of viewers, and they wanted, hey, we're going to start with the big guys to stop the misinformation out there, and then all the other little guys will get the message.
Yeah, it says that the company took down over 130,000 videos for violating COVID-19 vaccine policies in 2021 alone.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And I would bet that probably a not insignificant number of some of the claims or some of the things said, probably a lot of it had to do with things like, is this vaccine safe? Or it might have been, do we really have to wear masks? A lot of this seems like hyperbole, and we're getting really out of line here with what we're doing to not only the American people, but countries around the world. A lot of people were just making expressions like that and found themselves at the wrong end of Google and deep state, Biden administration, whatever you want to call it. Because, I mean, some of that was in operation while, Trump was in office. And again, it's one of those faults of Trump's first administration, especially trusting way too many of the wrong people. Make sure you're subscribed to Valiant Renegade and join us every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern for the live show.